Cam Fam. Today we're learning how to make the most of our time. And back with us is Pastor Tim Timberlake, who has followers all over the world finding inspiration from his sermons and social media posts. So when Pastor Tim realized that what he had to share about time's power to transform our lives was bigger than a sermon, he went and wrote a book about it called The Power of 1440, Making the Most of Every Minute in a Day. And Pastor Tim says it was his wife, Jen, who helped him understand the value of time in a new, meaningful way just before they met. Jen had been in a horrible bicycling accident while working in New Orleans, and she suffered a traumatic brain injury that sent her into a dark spiral, a spiral that would lead her to Tim.
When I saw my face, I thought I was going to die. I went to this place called the Center for Neuroskills, and I couldn't tell you what 2 + 2 was without counting it on my fingers. While I was kind of in the no man's land, I ended up going to this conference in New York, and I met Tim there. And then a couple months later, a lot of things transpired in my life. I was sitting on a beach, really contemplating actually taking my own life, but like asking God, how far would I have to swim for you to just carry me away? And I just heard this response, call Tim. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I called him, and I called him crying, and I got off the phone laughing, and yeah, it changed everything. Changed my whole life.
Wow. We're joined now by Pastor Tim's wife, Jen, who's also a pastor alongside her husband at Celebration Church in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you so much for joining. You know, we talk about time, and listening to your video diary, it struck me, we all want more time, but in that darkest hour, you didn't want any more time.
No, I didn't.
You were fed up with time. I've never had that feeling, but I understand the fear of moving forward. Mm-hmm. When I lost my job, I was like, I'm my backup plan. I have what am I going to do? Mm. So the fear of moving forward, I understand. The fear of not wanting to move forward. Take us to that moment for you.
Yeah, for me, I had really found my relationship with the Lord, and so I just wanted to be with him. Mm. I was at a place in my life where there was not a lot of hope in life, but there was great hope in him, and so there were a lot of different things happening. I wasn't able to go back to my career, which I had worked very hard for, and I just felt very alone and stuck in my own head. And so there was just not a lot of hope in my life.
Not a lot of hope there, but they say timing is everything. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many women now will take the call to go to conferences in hopes of running into the right guy? Like, I think I'm gonna go to a conference in New York. Because at the right time in your life, you then meet Tim. Yes. That's a complicated thing. You don't want more time, but then at the right time, this person comes in. How did that reset your perspective? Because other people can't make us happy, so you had to be receiving of it.
I was, and it had been a year and a half since my accident, and I had done a lot of work on myself. Yeah. And strangely enough, it was really kind of through losing my mind, I found my mind in Christ and who I was and who he created me to be. And so I knew who I was in Christ, which really allowed me when I met Tim, I wasn't finding myself in him.
Right.
I just knew that God had given me the greatest gift on the earth. Wow. And I must be pretty amazing if he's gonna give me him. So.
You know, Tim, you know, in the book, I love a lot, all of it, but this chapter, Nothing Changes If Nothing Changes, is one of my favorites. And you hit on something which is so ironic. Most of the people who follow you online, mm-hmm. but you write about social media overload and how much of our time is in this virtual world that measures against other people. You said, never before in human history has a new technology emerged in any faster and with more far-reaching impact than the internet. And you go on to talk about the impact of COVID and the lockdown, the good and the challenges of it. Yeah. But we spend a lot of time, for good or for bad, on social media, and we lose track of real time.
Absolutely. We are more connected than ever as a society through the medium of technology, but we are more disconnected than ever in our relationships. And the way that we define relationships now has completely changed because of social media. And so we define a friend now by the click of a button.
Yeah.
We define our relationships by people that we barely know. And so, whenever we are using these platforms or we are really spending a lot of time on them, make sure that they benefit you and that you're not comparing your life to other people.
And it's hard to do because you see people there on, and I fall into the same category.
Yeah.
Over the Christmas break was the first time we didn't go away. I said, I'm going to do a staycation. And I was like, I can't look at everyone's social media on the beach.
That's right.
Even I fell for it. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm at home with my kid. That's my beach. That's my son.
Right.
S-U-N,
Yeah,
S-O-N.
that's it.
That's my happiness, but it is challenging to do. When we're resetting our mindset, what is the first thing? Right now, whether people are in the audience or watching from home, the next thing we do to reset our mindset with time should be what?
It should be to understand what contentment is. Contentment is I'm satisfied where I am until I walk into my next. And so the quickest way to kill contentment, however, is comparison. If I'm constantly looking to the left and to the right, I don't
And comparing what other people are doing with their time.
With their time, what they look like, not even knowing and processing what I see online is not even real anyway. Then it does not give me the opportunity to value what I have in my hands.
Yeah.
And so I have to steward that time well and really steward what I have in my hands so that at the right time, I can take this opportunity and make something of it.
Wow. Before we go, I have to bring up, Jen, I know you talked about the blessing of finding this life partner, but there was a time where you thought you would never have a child. After the injury, doctor said that you would not become a mom.
Yeah.
And then?
And then we had an amazing little boy.
He's the best. I mean, and I look at him and I think, the hope of time and what time you have left, you don't even know what is there. And look at him at the sidelines at football games. I've never been that close to a field. Pastor Tim, Pastor Jen, thank you so much. Making every minute count and being with the Tam family is so important, and I appreciate that. And guess what, audience? Tim's message is so powerful. He wants you all to go home with a copy of the book, The Power of 1440. We are not wasting